Exciting times. You've either just passed your test or you've got a date quite soon, so that might mean car shopping is on the agenda. At this time in your life, this more than likely will be one of your biggest, if not the biggest purchases you have made. It has to be right. My plan for this mini-series is this. We're going to set ourselves a budget of £1,500 to buy an ideal first car. I will look into every decision I can think of that will influence this purchase. We will look at what make, what model, how much it will cost to run, and that includes the dreaded insurance. We'll look at the different types of financing available and whether to go for a private sale or a car from a dealer. In the end, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is and buy my final pick. First of all, what type of car are we going to be looking for? Well, quite simply a small hatchback. For similar money, you can find some higher spec motors, but with a premium vehicle often comes premium repair, insurance and running costs, and that's not something you need with a first car. I spent a fair bit of time going through Auto Trader to get an idea of what type of vehicle you can get with our £1,500 budget. 3 are reliability choices, 4 are popular choices, and a further 3 are my alternative options. The reliable 3 were taken from What Car 2023 Reliability Survey, and they were the Suzuki Swift between 2017 to 2024, the Toyota Yaris between 2011 to 2020, and a Hyundai i10 between 2014 and 2020. Because none of these cars really fit into our £1,500 budget, we're going to stick with the same 3 manufacturers, but maybe different models and years. You can get a Suzuki Swift, but the previous model within our price range, and the same can be said with the Toyota Yaris and the Hyundai. And having a quick look on Parker's used guides, these models seem to be quite reliable. Let's hope so. For the 4 popular choices, I'm going to go for the Ford Fiesta, the Vauxhall Corsa, the Renault Clio, and the Mini. And within our budget, there were this many of these cars for sale around the country at the time that I looked. These are my own alternative choices: a Volkswagen Polo, a Toyota Auris and a Honda Civic. So after finding some examples off Auto Trader, I went onto an insurance comparison website and got some quotes for each of these vehicles to have a look at the comparable costs. Quotes were for an 18-year-old male who had just passed their test with no previous driving experience. They had no claims or convictions and were insuring a vehicle for themselves with 0 no-claims bonus. Their occupation was as a student. I did all the quotes from my home address in Liverpool and had the vehicle parked on a path at night when it wasn't being used. There were no further drivers added, and the quote was for comprehensive insurance for social and commuting purposes also. The mileage for 12 months cover was 5,000, and the figures quoted were all from the same comparison website, and we had a voluntary excess of £500. This is what I was quoted.
The Toyota Auris was the most expensive to insure at £4,642. Next came the Honda Civic at £4,235. Next came the Volkswagen Polo at £4,207, so my 3 picks were the most expensive. Next was the most popular car, the Ford Fiesta, at £4,138 for the year. The Toyota Yaris would have been £4,004 to insure. The Mini was the first vehicle that was under £4,000, it was actually £3,755. And this surprised me a little because this car has been written off. You can see it's a category N by the price. I always thought vehicles that had been written off before were more expensive to insure, but I'm not sure that's the case here. So of course, I run a car vertical report to delve a little further, and the damage is visible straight from the off. There was no issues regarding the theft of the vehicle, and the odometer does seem to be legit. It's exactly the same mileage that shows on the advert. Don't forget, if you use the links in the description and the code Ashley, you're going to get yourself 20% off your next vehicle check. The report also shows the Mini has had a successful MOT recently, and it also confirms the car was written off as a Group N, which means it's repairable and it's non-structural damage. But it was the timeline in this particular report that would have given me the most information so I could go back to the seller and check things have been sorted. This, for example, offside front positioning lamps not working properly, and the near side lamp was the reason for the MOT fail the following year. And then again in 2018, and in 2023 there was exactly the same reason for fail. So don't forget, use the code Ashley and you can save yourself 20% on your next car vertical check. It might just save you a big bill, or at the very least some better bargaining power when you're trying to get your next car. So the Mini would have cost £3,755 to insure. What's the next cheapest? It's the Renault Clio at £3,733. The Suzuki Swift gets into the top 3 with a quotation of £3,442. The Vauxhall Corsa comes second with £3,351. And the cheapest by some margin was the Hyundai i10, £2,972 to insure.
These quotes aren't necessarily the cheapest rates you could get. I didn't fill in any licence information or shop around from any other specialist websites or brokers. None of these quotes included a black box, which I think can help in many ways, but it's also unfair in many others. If you are a student nurse and doing a night shift, why would you be penalised for driving home after 11 PM? That's why they haven't been included. In the next episode, we'll be cutting our list from 10 to 3, and I'll be going through a few more of the decisions that need to be made and thought about before you choose your number one. Keep safe, everyone, and I'll see you next time.